Welcome. This is a project that me and my partners made to show how class relationships work. And in the main file, all we have is a PC that we named Mac. In this PC, we'll have a print function that will print out its 5 different parts. And that will be explained later.
Now we move on to the PC header file. We included all the header files that we have created so the PC recognizes and knows that there is another file there. Next, we declared the class for this file and named it PC, and also publicly included the other components to this program so PC can have the permission to use all the functions that will be created in those classes. The next thing in this header file is we have included the classes and renamed them so we can actually make their functions part of the program. The last thing is the print function, and this is where we move to the pc.cpp file. And in this particular print function, the cout lets it display its results in the output window when it's called from main. Because we renamed the functions in the previous file, we have to call, for example, Lexar in order to activate the motherboard class and function so it can print out the results that will be talked about later in this video.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I will attempt to describe the components of the PC, which are the battery, the CPU, the fan, the memory, and the motherboard. As Bryan briefly mentioned, we're demonstrating a program that has a behavior of objects using other objects with a has-a relationship. In this example, we're using the PC object or class, which has individual parts. And by making these classes public, we allow each class to communicate back to the PC class where the print function is processed due to the initialization of the print in main. However, we need to make each object's print function with a different label so that it can properly identify the correct component from the PC class. So you see the different components here in public with the motherboard, the battery, the CPU, and the fan. And I'll use the fan as an example here. And you'll notice that we used print4 as the function label here, whereas in the different components or objects we used like print1, print2, and so on. Then in the CPP file we modularized the functional parts of the program to carry out what will actually be printed for each class. Of course, you need to include the header of the class for the CPP so that it can receive the libraries and standards from the fan header, in this example, of course. And then we call the void fan print4 function. And within that function, all we did was to process a simple cout, which will display the information to the screen. And we just copied this process for each class and gave it a different function number, as I mentioned before. So that they could be identified independently, and I can show you that. Like you see in the battery, it's print2, in the memory it's print5, and I'll give it a run here so that you can see that our program works flawlessly. And that is all. Thank you.